My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
This is Let the Record Show, using common sense. Now, here are your hosts, Judge Richard Weinberg and Chairman Jesse Garcia.
We're back on Let the Record Show with Chairman Jesse Garcia of the Republican Party. I'm Judge Richard Weinberg. And now we're honored and privileged to have the town supervisor of the town of Brookhaven, Ed Romaine. Ed is Republican conservative candidate for county executive of Suffolk County. I have a place out on Suffolk County. I'm looking forward to having the leadership of somebody as experienced, as dedicated as Supervisor Romaine. He's a town supervisor of the town of Brookhaven, which is a population, I gather, in excess of 500,000 people. Geographically, it's bigger than Nassau. He's always had balanced budgets. He's always been for limiting unnecessary taxes. He's been a great leader out in Suffolk. Indeed, he's endorsed by Newsday, which is an amazing thing for a Republican conservative to get endorsed by Newsday and other newspapers. In fact, Newsday calls him the best local town executive in all of the island. Ed Romaine, welcome to Let the Record Show with Chairman Garcia and myself.
Your Honor, it's a pleasure to be on with you. There's a lot of issues that are going to decide the future of this county, and I can't wait for Election Day, and hopefully I'm successful, and I have an opportunity to deal with some of those issues. Well,
I think you're very well positioned to be the county executive, having been the most successful representative in an executive capacity out on the island, and you're universally acknowledged as such. Could you tell us what the big issues are for you as you go forward?
Well, the big issues, I don't have to tell you, as someone from New York City, one of the big issues here in Suffolk is stop unvetted migrants from being placed in Suffolk County. We see what's happening in New York City. We don't want to see that happen here. We don't have the resources to deal with it. It's breaking the city's back. I feel very bad for Mayor Adams because this is a burden, financial burden that is going to be very difficult for the city to deal with. I think one of the other big issues is public safety. It is the first obligation of every government to provide public safety. Crime is up, and yet we have vacancies in our police department, our detectives, and that we're paying taxes for, but these positions are not being filled. I would fill these positions. I would add more prosecutors. I would make sure we would go after the criminals. And as a county, we do something that a lot of counties don't do. We actually tax your LIPA bill, your electric bill. We tax your home heating oil. We tax your natural gas and your propane. Look, I want to make Suffolk more, not only safer, but more affordable. That's a tax I want to do away with. It's a regressive tax, falls heavily on the poor. We want to make sure that tax is gone if we can. Some of the other things is we want to stop LIPA from hiking our electric rates higher than they're almost, I think, the second highest in the nation. We just can't afford that. We have to keep Long Island safe and affordable.
And what are your thoughts about the Democrat-controlled state legislature, which has created this climate of lawlessness because of their pro-criminal, anti-law enforcement agendas? For example, like the cashless bail, where you can't hold anybody in except under very limited circumstances, and there's no discretion given to judges to hold defendants in who are threats to public safety.
Well, I think that's disgraceful. Look, my opponent's running on the working families line. If you study the working families line, they advocate defunding the police, cashless bail, and clean slate for felons, things I don't agree with. I was talking to our DA, Ray Tierney, a great DA, and he said, Ed, if a mosquito lands on your arm, that mosquito weighs about 2 milligrams. You take 2 milligrams of fentanyl, you're dead. But under the state laws, you would need 8 ounces of fentanyl to hold someone on bail. That could kill 114,000 people. Tells you something about our state laws. and whether they are based in reality or not.
Well, that's a real problem, because Jesse and I have been talking about this for a long time. I, as a general counsel, the city council, and chief counsel to Peter Vallone, the speaker, we're the ones who created the Safe Street, Safe City program. And we recognized way back when, during the Dinkins administration, if you don't have a safe city, if you don't have high quality of life, if you don't make a good place to raise your children, to walk the streets safely, to engage in the cultural opportunities, go to the medical centers. If people are not safe and they don't feel safe, you lose your population. Ed, you have a substantial number of people who fled the state of New York. You have, I think it was 540,000 people over the last couple of years who fled New York. What's the impact of that kind of fleeing when people vote with their feet?
That's huge, Your Honor. Look, as a percentage of population, New York lost more population than any other state in the union. It says something about the state policies that the state legislature and Governor Hochul is adopting. Obviously, they are not being met with joy and happiness, and people say, you know what, I can't afford to live in New York, and now with some of the crazy laws they're passing, it's time to leave. And we see more and more people leaving. I'm here to fight for the future of Suffolk County and the people living here. I want to keep Suffolk safe. I want to keep it affordable. I want to make sure we have clean water, we have sewers, we do all the things that are right. But if the state continues its policies, it's just going to drive more and more people away. And I'm going to tell you, if I'm elected as county executive, I'm going to be a strong voice against some of these policies that make New York so unattractive that people leave. Retirees can't stay here. Young people can't get a start here. It's time to change some of the policies that we have in the state. Otherwise, we're going to lose our future.
Jesse.
Ed, thank you for being here, and it's a unique opportunity for me to be here with you to interview you. But one of the things I want to share with Judge Weinberg and our listeners is that Ed Romaine does not shy away from a fight. And it does not matter if someone is doing something wrong, he's going to go after them. I want to just give two examples. In the past, people thought that the big banks were all part of, and were funding Republican candidates and such. When Ed Romaine came into office and was he rebuilt Brookhaven South Shore in the wake of the Superstorm Sandy, you saw those zombie homes popping up all over the place that were being used by drug dealers, gang leaders, and really hurting the quality of life and the property values of residents. You initiated a program that's now been copied by other towns throughout Long Island to raise from the streetscape those zombie homes. Maybe speak a little bit about that and how that's helped the quality of life, the improvement of our property values, and the safety of our streets.
Well, if you have a zombie home on your street, every other house on that street has lost tremendous amount of value. Who's going to buy on that street with a burnout or wreck or a house where you have drug dealers or squatters living in? We went after suburban blight. At this point, Brookhaven Town alone has taken down 400 homes over the last few years. That has cleaned up, and there's a message there to banks who are holding these foreclosures and letting them turn into wrecks. Hey, either you take care of your property, or if it becomes a zombie house, we're going to take it down. We're going to clean it up. We're going to charge you, put it on your tax roll, and we're going to clean up this property because we owe it to everyone else on that street to do that. So, no, we're not going to allow suburban blight to overtake us. We saw what urban blight did to the cities years ago. We're not going to let it happen here.
If you're having problems with your septic system and you're tired of spending so much money each year to have it pumped, then SeptiClean is the answer for you. SeptiClean is an advanced specially formulated blend of bacteria used in the treatment of home and commercial septic systems. The breakdown of waste in your system relies on biological activity of naturally occurring bacteria. SeptiClean restores the natural biological process in your septic system and boosts the existing biological activity. SeptiClean is completely safe on all plumbing and can help prevent prevent expensive emergencies in pumping. SeptiClean has approximately 6 to 100 times the bacteria count of other leading off-the-shelf brands in a 1-year supply. SeptiClean comes in a water-soluble pack, which you flush down the toilet once a month with no mess or stress. Save time, money, and maintenance on your septic system. Find SeptiClean at Emporium True Value Hardware on Main Street in Sag Harbor, or visit micro-tab.com. That's micro-tabb.com. micro-tabb.com.
How does PwC take your company to the leading edge? They bring the sharpest minds in tech to your team, so you can bring the ideas that will transform your business. They're passionate about your industry, so you can walk into any room with every advantage. And they're with you every step of the way, so you can know you're headed in the right direction. PwC builds for what's next, so you can get there now. Get started at pwc.com/us/leading edge.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistant's assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the U.S. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
You know, the broken window theory, which was created by a couple of criminologists, but was the theory that if you have a broken window in a building, the house is going to go under unless you fix that broken window. And what you're talking about, Supervisor Romaine, is the fact that if you don't confront the decay and the lawlessness and declining quality of life, you lose a whole community. And the time to confront that is early up. You just don't let it fester and fester and fester until you lose block after block after block. So your leadership in Brookhaven in going after these zombie homes is very, very important. And our listeners should understand that's how you protect all of Suffolk County. Because what you don't want to have is you don't want to have a zombie town. Because if you have a zombie town, that's going to feed over to the other towns in Hamilton Island. What do you say, Ed?
Absolutely. We cannot have zombie towns. We cannot have zombie houses. Zombie houses rob value from all the other surrounding houses. It's outrageous. So if you have an unsafe house, we're going to send the inspectors in. We're going to check it out. We're going to send the engineers in. We'll have public hearing. But eventually, you either clean up that house or we're tearing it down and charging you for tearing it down. So we're serious. And when we've taken down 400 houses in this town, that sends a very clear message. We have no tolerance for suburban blight. We're going to fight for our community and for the future of our communities. And that's only one way that we're going to do it. Other ways that we're going to do is make sure we have sufficient police protection and select enough detectives to go after the criminals. Make sure that we cut the energy tax that are hurting people, making it less affordable to live here. Make sure, as we run the town, we eliminate any pipeline debt that we have. Make sure that we stop unvetted migrants. Make sure that we have a clean water program and we spend money on putting sewers in where needed. So, yeah, we have a program to lead Suffolk County into the 21st century and be a shining star. Look, we know what's happening in the state. We have to counteract it. We have to encourage people to stay here. We have to work to create affordable housing for our veterans, for our young. The affordable housing is so necessary. Where do we get our workers from, the entry-level workers? Where do we get our firefighters from, our ambulance companies? Right now in Brookhaven Town, if you join your fire department or your ambulance company and you serve 5 years, you get 10% off your town taxes. I want to do the same thing in the county. We want to encourage more people to volunteer and get involved in their communities.
Your reputation, Ed, as a supervisor of Brookhaven is that you not only provide the services in a cost-efficient way and responsible way to give back to the community and make it a livable place, but you also do it without being one of these crazy tax and spend executives. Would you explain that?
Yeah, well, I'm a great believer you can't spend money you don't have. We don't go into debt. When I came into Brookhaven, we had some financial problems. Within 2 years, we cleared that up. We have structurally balanced budgets. And for the last 9 years, we have had a AAA bond rating. That's what you have to do. Every year, the state controller judges every municipality in terms of fiscal stress and environmental stress in this state. Brookhaven received this year 0 financial stress, 0 environmental stress, which is one of the best grades, showed we had no stress, that we are capable of managing our affairs without raising taxes or going nuts, and we control our spending, and we are going to keep it that way because it's the only way we can continue to tell people, don't leave New York yet. We're in a fight for its future. We're going to make Suffolk a shining star. We're going to stand up and say to the state, wait a second, look at our policies. They're working. Yours aren't. Governor Hochul, stop with the liberal policies. Stop with the tax and spend. We need a better answer if we're going to retain people here in New York State.
Well, the problem, and I say this again, I'm known as the House Democrat, the so-called common sense Democrat. You can't, as you correctly point, you can't tax and spend and expect people to stay. You can't allow lawlessness and criminality and low-quality life to prevail and expect people to stay. You can't expect people to stay unless they have affordable housing. You can't expect people to stay when they have a migrant problem and you don't know who's running around your streets. So it seems to me that what you stand for is just common sense for decent, middle-class people who want to raise their families, live out their lives out in Suffolk County, be members of the community of New York State, but be responsible in doing that. And the problem, and I say this as the Democrat, and Jesse knows I say this all the time, the problem, people say, why are you still a Democrat? I say I stay in the party because I want to bring the party back to the center. Right now, the Democratic Party in New York State is controlled by the Democratic Socialists and the Working Families Party, and they do not stand for common sense leadership, responsible government, and high-quality life. And we're going to lose if we don't have people like you, Ed, running places like Suffolk County. Your final words to the people of New York.
I could not agree with you more. We need to change a policy. We need to change a direction. It's one of the reasons that when Jesse came to me earlier this year, he's the Republican chairman, Jesse Garcia, for Suffolk County, and recruited me to run for county executive. I said yes, because I know the future of New York and the future of Long Island is on the line. We've got to do the right thing. I see the drift taking place. I see people leaving. I want people to stay. I want New York to be the Empire State again. I am so depressed at some of the policies and its impact on the community. So I'm up for the fight. I'm ready to take the lead. I'm ready to show that we can run a responsible government that benefits everyone in Suffolk County.
Well, Supervisor Ed Romaine, Supervisor of Brookhaven, the Republican conservative candidate for county executive in Suffolk County, endorsed by Newsday and all the other newspapers out in that area. You stand for what I believe all common sense people want, responsible, effective government that protects the people and gives a high-quality life. We wish you very good success next Tuesday in the election. God bless you, and God bless all our good neighbors in Suffolk County. Thank you very much, Mr. Romaine.
Thank you, Your Honor. You have a great day. It was a pleasure to be on with you and Jesse. Keep up the good fight. The listeners depend on you for common sense.
Thanks again.
If you're having problems with your septic system and you're tired of spending so much money each year to have it pumped, then SeptiClean is the answer for you. SeptiClean is an advanced specially formulated blend of bacteria used in the treatment of home and commercial septic systems. The breakdown of waste in your system relies on biological activity of naturally occurring bacteria. SeptiClean restores the natural biological process in your septic system and boosts the existing biological activity. SeptiClean is completely safe on all plumbing and can help prevent prevent expensive emergencies in pumping. SeptiClean has approximately 6 to 100 times the bacteria count of other leading off-the-shelf brands in a 1-year supply. SeptiClean comes in a water-soluble pack, which you flush down the toilet once a month with no mess or stress. Save time, money, and maintenance on your septic system. Find SeptiClean at Emporium True Value Hardware on Main Street in Sag Harbor, or visit micro-tab.com. That's micro-tabb.com. Micro-tabb.com.